Yeah. Wake up with coffee and sports. Sunrise glow, listen coast to coast. A flow like you know.
Offensively, who made them? Oh, Patrick Mahomes.
Sideline to sideline with plays to show. This network's got the spark.
When you put up 300 yards rushing against someone, that you got your butt whooped.
I feel like I would have liked to see Oregon Ohio State in the semis, not the quarters. So I think some reseeding is probably where I would change. But
they're out of their mind. They're going to do this 3 quarterbacks in a row.
Here's the crazy.
I just can't take it.
First keep flying high, fans cheering loud, and one podcast moving through the crowd. Meaty boys brawling, no holds barred loud. This wire life never in doubt. Tune into the vibe.
That's my bold prediction for the show. Devin Booker, in the next 3 years, he will be a Houston Rocket.
Because I still think Seth is still at the top of his game. I do. I think he's right there. Who knows? Maybe. Not this year, but one time soon. Why wouldn't we potentially see Seth and Roman? You know what I mean?
Tune in the vibe.
Gardner on the mic tonight. News coming in left and right. More better with the latest fight. Gene's got that insight tight. Champions rise and they fall. Wire to wire, got it all. Every move and every brawl. Tune in for the curtain call. Wrestling talk all night long. Catch the latest match and song. Ring the bell, let's get it on. Every story bright and strong. In the ring they clash and roar. New rivalries and so much more. Titles change and legends lore.
Hey, what's poppin', y'all? It is your boy, it is Guard-E3. And welcome back to the Meaty Boys podcast. We are coming off a great weekend of wrestling, which we will absolutely get into. But first, let me introduce to you the gentleman who I like to refer to as the greatest co-host of all time, the limousine riding, jet flying, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun. He is Mo Better. How you doing, Mo?
I'm doing great. Tuesday night, you know what that means. It's Meaty Boys. We talking some wrestling. Let's go.
So, I thought we'd start the year off by having a little fun, Mo. I've been tracking, I've been kind of tracking some things for our award show that we do at the end of the year. And I thought it'd be a little fun to share kind of what I have right now for some different awards, right? So kind of almost like a match of the month, superstar of the month sort of thing. Or superstar of the year so far, so I'll include the Royal Rumble in that regard. So I thought it'd be a little fun to show what I got so far. So currently, for the month of January, I think, and like I said, we're having fun. We're doing a little monthly award thing. And I think the best match of last month, starting in the WWE, Mo, for January, I thought it was CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in the Netflix premiere. I thought it had all the drama and everything you'd want in a wrestling match. It had a great story and a great build. The other ones that I had were Roman versus Solo, Kevin Owens versus Rey Mysterio, and Penta versus Chad Gable. But I think the best match that I saw this past month on WWE television, give me Punk and Rollins. What do you think, Mo?
I'll tell you this much. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk was the most intense. I was going to say it was the most intense, violent match I had seen. And then we saw the match at WrestleMania between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. That's a great match, though. You got me when you look at them compared to the other matches that you put out there. Although I will say this, I thought Roman and Solo was surprisingly entertaining. Like Very compelling, entertaining. Solo's gotten so much better as an in-ring performer. But yeah, I agree with you. I think CM Punk and Seth Rollins, that's been the best match so far. But after Royal Rumble, I think Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes is a really close second.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to add that match to the match of the year list here because I think that very well could be number one. That was just absolutely a pure insanity match. It just, it just missed that January cutoff that I was thinking of for
Right.
it. But that was just an absolutely terrific match. I definitely can't wait to talk about it later. For women's match, I actually have and I'm just going to give my WWE ones now. I'll give the AEW ones on the page after the show. For the women's, I actually have from NXT, and we saw both of these ladies in the Royal Rumble. Julia versus Roxanne Perez at New Year's Evil NXT. I thought that was the best match on WWE programming so far. For Superstar of this one, I'll go Superstar of the Year so far, and I think that one's pretty easy. It's main event Jey Uso. He's had the best year so far of anybody in the WWE. Pulled off what I would call at the time was an upset win over Drew McIntyre on the Netflix premiere. But not only that, he shocks the world and wins the Royal Rumble. Again, we'll get to that later. But for my Superstar of the Year so far, Mo, I don't think there's really a different answer I can go for the WWE besides Jey Uso.
Yeah, look, I'm a big Jey Uso fan. If you're talking about for the year so far, let's not forget, outside of what he did in the Royal Rumble, the Netflix premiere, the big win versus Drew McIntyre, that match, I really thought Drew McIntyre that was going to be a match that he would dominate and find a way to win, and Jey Uso once again surprised us all. I think that's what I like the most about Jey Uso is that there's always that surprise element that he can pull victory from defeat out of nowhere. Maybe that's why he's one of my favorite WWE superstars. But I agree with you. He is definitely the star of the year so far. I look forward to see what he does heading into the rest of the year.
Yeah, and for my best WWE moments, I think for the men's, there are some pretty cool moments that happened in, the month of January, like Reigns getting the Ula follow back. But we know the best moment for sure for the men's is Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble. And for the women's, though, I actually do have an event that happened in January that could very well win WWE Women's Moment of the Year at the award show at the end of the year. Of course, I'm talking about Tiffy time. Tiffany Stratton cashing in her Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And the first episode on USA. That was just one of the best moments of any wrestling show so far. So that was just terrific work at television, how they did that.
Look, Tiff Stratton is a bright young star. I think stars like her, she brings new energy, new fans to the WWE. And something tells me she's going to have a fairly decent run as a champion. I think she's established herself already as one of the bigger stars, but now we get to see her as a champion go up against some of the other elite wrestlers. So I'm excited for her.
No, absolutely. So, I'm gonna. Those are some of our awards so far this year. By the way, I just want to kind of bring you guys with us on this journey of the options slowly throughout the year. We'll keep kind of throwing you more matches and everything. And eventually, between me, Mo, and, you guys watching, we'll get the best four matches, best four entrances, and everything else that, by the end of the year. But for now, I'm going to switch gears a little bit because, Mo, I think it's time to talk about the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. It was absolutely fantastic. It was a lot of fun. And of course, we started out Saturday night with the Women's Royal Rumble match. Now, before we get to the winner, Mo, How do you think the actual match itself was? Were you entertained? Did you like the surprises? Like, what was your thoughts on just the match in general before we get to the winner?
I was entertained, but there were a couple of surprises. And look, one stood out more than the others. You know, and I know when you saw Alexa Bliss, come on, that blew the roof off of the building. It was amazing. And I just enjoyed the match, the flow of the match. And there was so much star power in the ring that if you're a true fan of WWE, you get to see a little bit of everything. And I love it when they bring in performers from NXT. I love when they bring in people from TNA. Like, I love stuff like that. I love the blend of talents. It was exciting. It was entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the surprises of Alexa Bliss, and obviously Nikki Bella comes in at number 30. We had Trish Stratus. I thought they nailed the surprises. I thought that was great. The match itself was kind of almost a little bit of a it was interesting, right? There was one spot in that match that I absolutely hated. And I think you might already know what I'm talking about with this one. There's like 6 or 7 women grouped up on the apron, and Nia Jax just kind of bowling balls into all of them and eliminating them. That just, to me, that just looked super awkward. It did not look good at all. I did not like that, moment. Because also, like, I almost feel like you could have really benefited from how much more awesome does Roxanne look if she throws out Bianca. I think there's so many like different moments and better stories you could have told than just piling in like 7 people together and go, okay, Nia, now just run into them. I didn't like that. I thought that was just really just not a great spot to do.
No, I'm with you. I thought Bianca Belair was kind of underused in the match. I'm not saying she had to win the match. I just felt like she had very little impact on the match. I don't know. She was there, and you almost forget she was in the ring for the bulk of the time that she was in the ring. She just didn't have much impact.
No, absolutely. And of course, I thought the thing they did really well is I thought it was the right call to have, Roxanne be the Iron Woman and go all the way till the end after entering at, was it number 1 or 2?
And that was amazing.
I think that's just the way to go. If you're going to have an iron person, just have it be somebody, an up-and-comer. I thought that was absolutely terrific. Her performance was great. And there were some other fun moments. I thought the moment where Naomi gave Jordan Grace a hug and Bianca just straight up grabbed her by the hair. Like, are you serious right now?
That was actually pretty cool, though.
That was really funny. So I guess if I had to give, and you know what? Let's talk about now the ending, because this to me was almost it's a mixed bag of choices, right, Mo? Charlotte Flair wins the whole thing. On one hand, she just came back from injury. You knew it was going to happen. But you also knew what the backlash was going to be. She comes out, and I'm going to get a little ahead of myself here, but because I think it just kind of ties into this whole thing where I'm about to go with this. Mo, she comes out the next Monday at Raw. She's trying to tell everybody her struggles to get back into the ring, and they boo her out of the building. The fans in Cleveland were mad. I don't know if they were salty about, Myles Garrett wanting out and just needed taking it out on someone.
Right.
But they booed Charlotte out of the building. And I almost think that if your goal was to get Charlotte Flair over as a good guy or a babyface in this situation, you went about it all wrong. Everybody was going to hate Charlotte Flair winning because of how she's been booked in prior years. You've already given her the title 14 times. You've already booked her in a main event feud and for a title in every single feud she's been in. We can't really name any non-title feuds that you can go, that's a defining moment of Charlotte Flair's career. And it's really unfortunate that she's going to get all this hate because she won the Rumble, because she's just one of the best performers on the planet and in that company. regardless of gender. But the reality is, the way they have booked her, as soon as she won the Rumble, I kind of figured, like, yeah, she's getting booed. There's no way that anybody's going to go for this after the initial shock wears off. I think if they want to make Charlotte a good or babyface, they need her to lose at WrestleMania and then keep her away from the title for a long while. But Mo, what did you think about the winner, Charlotte winning? Because I feel like it's a mixed bag.
It's a mixed bag because her winning felt anticlimactic. And that was the only part about the match that I didn't enjoy. I felt like not only did she get a great draw, which she did, it was set up for her to find a way to win. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but wrestling fans are smart and they like to be brought in or at least made to believe like it makes sense why this person won or why they didn't win. Her coming back from that injury and being away as long as she has, then turning around and winning the Royal Rumble, I just thought the fans were like, I don't see that. Not her first match, not a grueling match like that. And you can tell, even though she's clearly a lot healthier, the knee isn't 100% because she still kind of labored a little bit when she moved. So I agree with you on the one point where if they're trying to make her a baby face, big fail. But if the fans are going to boo her, she can easily flip it around and slide into the skid and be a heel. She's already proven she can be a terrific heel. So I feel like if you're going to boo her, she's the type of performer, she will embrace that. She'll embrace those boos and she'll win more big matches and it'll make you boo more. So maybe they thought about it, but I think Triple H and company are going to have to recalculate. If they want her to be part of some type of main event match into WrestleMania, it will be as a heel.
Yeah, and I almost feel like she kind of showed how great she was because she got booed out of the building, but in the middle of her promo, she flipped the switch and started going full heel.
Right. I love that. Like, don't you think she did that like impromptu, right? Like that wasn't the plan, but I think she realized like, okay, this isn't working, but this is what I can do.
Yeah, no, that was great. And I think that just shows, and I will toot Charlotte's horn all day. She's one of the greatest talents on the roster. But I think that this is, if you are plan on using this to make her an even more hated heel, then this works.
Yeah.
But if the plan is to make her, try to make her be a baby face through this entire run, then it's going to be a disaster. I think they'll do the right call and turn her heel. But I think if they ever want her to be a successful baby face, they just got to keep her away from the title after this foray. I think I'll even have a little fun. I didn't think about this till right now, but I'll give these Rumble matches my own like ratings out of 5 stars, since that's how the wrestling community likes to do it. And I think for the women's Rumble, I think I'd give it like 3 stars. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. It had some great moments, but also felt like some talents were very underutilized, and the winner was anticlimactic. So it was solid, but I don't think it approached anywhere near like a really good Royal Rumble.
I'm gonna go with you on that. You went 3 stars. I was gonna go 2.5. I just thought that it started off with a lot of energy. There was a lot of buzz, and then it trickled off. And like I said, when you look at performers like Liz Morgan, when you look at Bianca Belair, I just think they were underused. Even some of the younger talents, which I think you should highlight, by the way, they were underutilized. And the ending was obviously anticlimactic. So I think that took a lot out of it. It was a good match. It's not one of the greatest women's rumbles, but it was a good rumble. It was a solid rumble. I was just disappointed in the ending, but that's me nitpicking. I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy it. I just wanted someone else to go get over.
No, absolutely. And then we followed that up with a really fun tag team match, DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns. I don't really have anything bad to say about this match. I thought it was fun, and I thought it was a terrific match. I think the only thing that really hurts it in my eyes was kind of just the Street Profits getting involved at the end. But granted, I understand that was to further a story. But overall, I thought this was a fantastic match, and I think this, if I had to give it a rating out of 5 stars, I would say like 3.5. It was a really good match. It was really fun. I think the Street Profits getting involved does hurt it a little, and I don't think it was like an all-time great match, but it was a fun second match to be had.
I think it was a good match. More importantly, I thought, at least it felt like it to me as we watched it. It felt like it didn't last long. I mean, maybe it did, but it didn't feel like it because it was entertaining. There was a lot of false finishes, which I enjoy. And I thought both tag teams did a great job. I didn't think at any time that DIY was going to lose. But I'm not mad at the ending at all. I'm with you on the I don't get the point of the Profits, but again, I'm not Triple H, I'm not creative. There's a bigger story going on. Maybe at some point it's to put the Profits over. We'll see. But look, other than that, it was better than the Rumble, the women's Rumble, in terms of entertaining. So I was good with it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's like if I went 3 on the women's Rumble, I think this is at least 3.25, 3.5. Action was definitely good enough. I'll give it the 3.5. And then we follow that up, Mo, with just an absolute banger of a match. Of course, we're talking about Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens in a ladder match for the undisputed title. And this was just wild. It was fun. It was a brawl. They went back and forth all throughout the arena. And yeah, it's just an insanely violent match. Mo, what did you think about this one?
One of the most violent matches I've seen in recent memory. Incredibly physical, taxing. There were many times when I thought either performer weren't going to get back up or recover. And it kept us guessing all the way up to the end. Like, there were moments when you thought Cody might not be walking out with. I mean, Kevin Owens was giving Cody everything he had and then some. And I thought I saw, and this is just me, as the match progressed, I thought you saw a darker side of Cody Rhodes, a more vicious side of Cody Rhodes. The thing that stood out to me, Brett, and I don't know if it did for you, but the match is over. They're attending to Kevin Owens. He's outside. They're attending to him. He is done. He's wasted. And Cody Rhodes has both belts up, and he's kind of behind him, but he's standing up. And it's the visual. It's Kevin Owens beat up, and Cody Rhodes is like, you know what I mean? Not even remotely concerned if Kevin Owens is okay or not. Like it. I don't think that's a negative on Cody Rhodes, but I thought that visual. I thought it showed you that there's a mean side, there's a darker side to Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, and honestly, Mo, I really thought that this was. I don't think you could. This is a match where I don't think you could have asked for anything more. They wrestled. They gave you violence. They gave you memorable and iconic moments. They fought in the crowd. That Sami Zayn drama was a nice touch. I don't think I could give this. I think the lowest I could go, it would be like 4 3/4 of a star. But honestly, Mo, I can't nitpick anything wrong with it. Like, I thought they did exactly what they took the expectations, blew them out of the water. So I think this is the first time I've ever done this for any rating. I think this was just a straight up 5-star ladder match. I thought they did everything perfectly and then went over the top of that.
Whatever we think of Rollins versus Punk, I'll say it again, this was as good. Or maybe it was better. It was certainly every bit as intense and as physical and as violent. And I don't know, maybe it's recency bias because it's sticking with me, the matches. Every little nuance of it's sticking with me. And I'm like you, I don't do 5s. So I'll go 4, 4.5 stars, even though, come on, it felt like a 5. It was an amazing. I'll put it this way. I thought that match was so good, Brett. I thought, all right, So the gentlemen are going to have to come out and step their game out for the Rumble to top that match. That's how
No,
good it is.
absolutely. And I normally don't give 5-star ratings either. I think those should be reserved for just the best of the best matches. But I think as the year progresses, and maybe I'll look back in a couple days and be like, well, maybe it's a 4 3/4 star match. I just don't know what they could have done better. So I think I'm genuinely just going to give this one 5. I thought it was perfect for what they could have done with it, especially with KO busted out that brutal. KO took some brutal ladder bumps. So did Cody. They had the fun little moments with the mini ladder.
The mini ladder was funny. I know it's an intense, brutal match, but that might have been like their little bit of moment where there was a little bit of humor, if there was any. But yeah, look, there were false finishes. I mean, there were some moves on the ladders where you thought they might not recover. They might be. There was a time, remember, they checked on Owens multiple times. Like, it was a physical and brutal match. And if you saw Kevin Owens on Raw last night when he attacked Sammy, you could still see he was wearing the scars from that match on his face still. Like, he's still pretty messed up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I'll leave it to you guys, chat. Do you think I'm overrating the KO and Cody match with 5 stars? Give me a reason why I should bump it down. But, of course, the final match. The Men's Royal Rumble. And, Mo, I figure we'll kind of do it the same way we did about the women's. First, well, let's talk about the actual match, Mo, before we get to the winner. What did you like? The surprises, the entrance? Did any moment in the match stick out to you?
I loved all the surprises. There was a point in the match. It was later in the match when you realized that the star power that was in the ring, and they were all in the ring at the same time. Punk, Rollins, Reigns, Cena, Logan Paul was there. Jay, like, at one point in my head, I was thinking, there's nothing but huge stars in here, and Jay Uso is like the least. If you talked about star power, he was like, in terms of being a big time single star, he was like the least decorated guy there, and Jay's huge. Jay's huge. It was one of my favorite Royal Rumble matches of all time. And that's not a recency bias thing, because it surprised me multiple times, and I don't get surprised very often, but it surprised me multiple times. And they did the complete opposite of the ladies. It was not anticlimactic. I had no clue who was going to win, even at the end when I thought they want Cena. They're going to set it up for Cena, and they threw me a curveball. They weren't setting it up for Cena, and it blew my mind. It completely blew my mind. It was a great match. It was a great match.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I thought it was absolutely fantastic too. It was wild and it was fun how they structured it too, because if you were in the first 15 entrants, you didn't last that long. I don't think anybody really lasted outside of Penta and like Ray over like 10 minutes in the first 15, because they kept just throwing powerhouse after powerhouse after powerhouse. And then they just kind of towards the back end started throwing, bigger stars, more technical guys. People started lasting longer once these powerhouses got tossed. Obviously,
were you not shocked when I didn't want to cut you off? Yeah. I honestly thought Jacob Fatu was going to be there at the end. I did. I really did. And it was that was a shocker.
I thought so too. Braun Strowman completely throwing him out caught me way off guard. On the other fun one, obviously, very viral moment. ISHO Speed gets in the Rumble, and he gets broken in half by Braun Breaker for his troubles.
And I loved it.
Like, it's the funny part is, Speed isn't a threat to you, but that man just started running the ropes anyway. That was just overkill, and that was hilarious. Fatu getting tossed out. Obviously, there was the moment with CM Punk tossing both Rollins and
Yes.
Reigns out, and then Rollins stomping Reigns in, which is funny, right? Because in the intro, you were talking about why wouldn't we run Rollins and Reigns back at WrestleMania, and it looks like you
Right.
may have actually nailed it. Maybe I've seen rumors today that it could be a triple threat match: Punk, Rollins, Reigns in the WrestleMania 41, which would be a ton of fun. But
Well,
overall, I thought this was also structured just perfectly.
I'm leaning towards what you just put out there, partner. A triple threat match with those three iconic wrestlers. Yeah, I can see it. I if I know Seth Rollins came out on Raw and he was feeling himself and he was, basically going down the list of who competed and who lost in the Rumble and what happened to them. If Seth Rollins truly knows Roman Reigns like he says he knows Roman Reigns, he has to know that Roman Reigns is not going to let that walk. That's not going to walk. Like Seth Rollins better get eyes in the back of his head. There's no way that walks.
No, I completely agree. And of course, Mo, now it's time to talk about you know who. In one of the most stunning moments we have ever seen, maybe the most shocking moment in Royal Rumble history on this side of Maven eliminating The Undertaker.
Wow.
And honestly, this is even more shocking than that. Jey Uso is getting a main event title shot at WrestleMania. There's mixed reactions. It's very divided. A lot of people on the internet are very upset. A lot of people are really happy for Jey. So, Mo, take it away.
Why wouldn't you be? Look, if you're disappointed, I'm hoping you're disappointed because you're one of those people who you would like to see John Cena get one more crack at a title because of the career that he's had. If you're one of those people and you're disappointed, I don't have a problem with you. That I can understand. But Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, they have all been put over. They've all won multiple championships. It was at the end of the match, Brett, when I was in awe of the firepower that was there and the star power. And Jey was the lowest guy on the totem pole, right? And for him to come out and win it and get him a shot, why not? Why isn't Jey? He's terrific in the ring. He's as charismatic as anybody. The crowd loves him. I get it. We all have our favorites. And obviously CM Punk has tons of fans and Rollins has tons of fans. Obviously the OTC has tons of fans. But we also know that the three of those guys that we mentioned, they have so much heat on them that if they compete in that triple threat that you mentioned and there's no belt involved, that will still be an awesome event, right or wrong. You know what I mean? Like when you're that big, you don't need it. You don't need it. I'm not torn at all. I'm excited for Jey Uso to get this opportunity. I'm excited for the possibility that Jey Uso could be a world champion. I just think that's amazing. Look, the thing that they have to all understand, you're wrestling fans. You all know how this works. What if Jey goes all the way to Mania? What if Jey wins at Mania? That doesn't mean that Jey Uso is going to have a 6 or year-long reign as champion. It just means he's going to have a WrestleMania moment, which is awesome. Which is awesome. So I'm of the Roman Reigns kind of thinking where you have to look beyond the obvious. Do I think at some point Roman Reigns will be a champion again? Sure. I don't know when, but he will be. I think Punk will be. I think at some point, there's no doubt in my mind Seth Rollins will be a world champion again. All those things could be true, but we can still be happy for a main event Jey Uso. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, you know what? I'm going to tell you everybody what I think, Mo, and then I'm going to ask you what you think. What out of 5, what would you rate the Royal Rumble? So I'll give you a minute to think while I go on a little rant here.
Sure.
Because I think if you're complaining about Jey Uso winning the Rumble, why? You're just bitching to bitch. Sorry, forgive my language. Sorry, guys at Northeast Sports. I apologize. But I don't know how else to phrase it because you complain when the Rumble's too predictable, right? Remember the backlash when Batista won in 2014 or Roman Reigns in 2015? And now you're going to complain when the Rumble's unpredictable? Listen, my only concern with Jey Uso winning the Rumble is not necessarily thrilled to see him versus Gunther again. But honestly, that's still going to be a fun match. And I really don't mind seeing it again because at the Royal Rumble, they gave us a moment we'll never forget. We'll never forget it. History will tell us down the line if it was the right or wrong move, but I think it's the right move because it's the fun move. Nobody saw it coming. You could very well legitimately finally make Jey Uso a legitimate main eventer, and he's earned it. This is a guy who's been knocking it out of the park, right? This is a guy who got a title match against Roman Reigns in 2020, and people are like, oh, this is just nepotism. This is happening because this is Roman Reigns' cousin. This is going to be terrible. And he gives the performance of a lifetime. And you just see his stock gradually rise throughout the Bloodline story. You see him have main event WrestleMania 39 in one of the greatest tag team matches I've ever seen against KO and Sammy. Like, he has earned this over multiple years. And I just don't like the complaining. Like I said, do you want a predictable winner? Listen, I'd have been okay if John Cena won it.
Me too.
But I think there's more money to be made for John Cena in the chase rather than him actually winning the title. Because honestly, I'll get to John Cena in a little bit, but I think that Jey Uso winning was the right call. And if you're complaining, honestly, you're just complaining to complain. They gave you an unpredictable winner, and it's great. I loved it. So, with that being said, Mo, if you had to rate the Royal Rumble, men's Royal Rumble match out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
I would give it 4.5. I thought it was a great match. There's been more intense Rumbles, but I thought it was a really good Royal Rumble. And I just love the freshness of the ending. Like, there was a moment where it seemed like it was predictable, and like I said, they threw us a curveball, and I love that.
You know what? I actually am going to change my Cody versus KO rating. I'm going to bump it down to a 4 3/4 star, and I'm going to give the Rumble the same thing. It's tough because I think those are the 2 best matches of the night, and I can't really pick which one's better. I think, Cody and KO did the best that you possibly could with the ladder match, and I think the men's Rumble did the best that you could possibly even imagine when we're talking about everybody involved. Everybody involved, they nailed their spots perfectly. And it was just an absolutely terrific Royal Rumble match. So overall, it was a great event. Absolutely loved it. We did a watch along on it. Absolutely fantastic. And now we're on the road to the Elimination Chamber, which I kind of started to talk about Cena, and I stopped myself because I wanted to almost save John Cena for this part, Mo. Everybody's like, John Cena wins the Chamber, but I feel like if you're Triple H, you have John Cena lose in the Chamber. You don't have him fight for a title at WrestleMania. I think that the best story you can tell with John Cena is in the chase for 17. And I think the best way to really maximize that is pull the, he's only got till December. He's running out of time to win number 17. And you do have him win it. But I think him winning it, for example, at like SummerSlam or Survivor Series when he's just about to run out of time, I think that would be perfect for John Cena. And I wouldn't even be mad, let's say, if he won at Survivor Series and then just retired with the belt. And then we have the 2026 Royal Rumble for the title. You could do a lot of different things, but Mo, what do you think? Because I genuinely believe that you don't have John Cena win number 17 at WrestleMania.
No. Look, he's one of the greatest of all time. Some would say even the greatest of all time. I like your thoughts in terms of him the chase and what Triple H and creative have done really well this past year is storytelling. Even though this is John Cena's, this is his farewell tour, it still has to have a story to it. You have to tell, and you have to draw the fans in. So I think, like you said, the idea that, oh, he just came up short, oh, he almost had it, like, bring us in, get to the elimination chamber and have false finishes where you're like, Cena might win it, pull us in. Maybe there's some disappointment, but like you said, you could have him win it at Survivor Series. He walks away, obviously offers the belt up. The next Rumble is for the belt, right? That would be amazing. That would be insane. And I have to believe that they're having those discussions right now. And the guy that's always been a great, not just a great performer, but a great guy for the company, I think Cena's here for it. I think Cena's like, nah, guys, don't just make it to where I get the Royal Rumble and some kind of. I think Cena thinks more like you think, and I think that's the way it's going to play out.
And you know what? You know who I'm having him beat for title number 17? I think there's only one answer to this: Randy Orton.
Orton, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think there's a great story to be told there too. You know, John Cena wants title 17. Randy Orton is going to do everything in his power to make sure John Cena doesn't pass him for title 17, because that would be, if I remember correctly, that would be Orton's 16th title reign. So, we got hey, Marcus, welcome to the show. What feuds or encounters would you book or want to see for Cena's final run? Say, Mo, do you want to start off with that one?
Well, you just brought it up. I think his last match should be Randy Orton for the belt. If you think about the history that they have together, that they basically came up in the same class, and have basically gone neck and neck, back and forth. If you were going to rank them right now, I think Cena's ahead of Orton, but Orton has had an incredible career in his own right. Them going at it one more time for the belt, in Cena's farewell tour, I don't know if there's a bigger match out there for John Cena than Randy Orton for the belt.
Yeah, some other guys that I'd want to see too. AJ Styles, him and John Cena have had some classics, and I'd love to see them run it back one more time. I'm a little greedy, and I'd actually time this also. I want John Cena versus CM Punk one more time, and I would do it at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view as a callback to their 2011 classic at Money in the Bank. Then, those are just some of his old flings, old rivals. I would love to see John Cena mix it up with some new guys, too. I'd love to see John Cena versus Gunther at some point. John Cena versus Braun Breaker.
That would be interesting.
And you know what? Like I said, another one. He's already had a history of feuding with the Bloodline. Imagine, in order for him to get to Randy Orton, I think you cast the most doubt. John Cena versus Jacob Fatu, number 1 contenders match. Winner gets Orton at Survivor Series. Imagine.
No, go ahead.
No, I'll say it. Just imagine forcing Cena to overcome that obstacle of Jacob Fatu to get to Randy Orton.
I actually like that idea because Jacob Fatu is, he's as imposing a figure in wrestling as there is. That anybody in their right mind would be like, how is Cena going to get out of that? And that would be one of those intense matches where Cena would look like he's done, but he'd find a way to rally. And yet Jacob Fatu is just, he's almost impervious to pain. It would be, that match would be a banger. Sign me up for that. Sign me up for that storyline. Initially, I thought you were going to go Cena and Roman, but I actually like Cena and Jacob Fatu a lot better.
Yeah, and honestly, I will say this too, because I know John Cena's selfless. He's the guy who might want to not retire with the title. He might want to go out on his back and give back to the business right before he leaves. And Jacob Fatu is the guy I would have retire Roman. I mean, not Roman, John Cena. I think in order to do that, you don't go with an old rival, but you have somebody you dub as the future, a future world champion, and somebody who you can build around for the next 5 to 10 years. And I think Jacob Fatu can be that guy. I think he's in a perfect spot. He's an absolute monster. So I want Cena to either retire with the title, go out on top, or I just have Fatu absolutely destroy him, get max heat. Don't even make it really a match. Make it almost like what you did John Cena versus Solo. Get that max heat on Roman. Fatu.
Let me ask you a question, because obviously this goes way into the other side of the story, but I don't think it's unrealistic. Fatu beats Cena, and Paul Heyman comes out as Fatu's representative, right? Like, I feel like somewhere down the line, I don't know why I feel this, and I felt this the last couple of big events. I feel like at some point Paul Heyman's gonna do what he does. He usually upgrades at some point. I think at some point Roman's gonna get taken out, and Heyman's gonna be in the corner of the guy that took him out. And it wouldn't shock me if that were Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I could see it. With Roman, missing quite a bit of time, often I could see them just kind of shifting, Paul over to somebody else, because at this point, Roman doesn't really need a mouthpiece anymore.
But Jacob Fatu does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I say Fatu is really fun, giving you like short, like 1 minute promos. I'm curious. I haven't seen him in an actual promo battle. I think he'd struggle with that. That would be perfect for Heyman to help him out. But I'll give Fatu credit in the sense that in terms of like cutting a quick 1 minute promo before the match, like what he did before Saturday night's main event, he's absolutely fantastic at that. He just comes off as so natural. But Heyman would be perfect because he's a guy that also doesn't talk much.
Right. And I think guys that aren't necessarily great on the mic, Heyman is the ultimate mic. He's the ultimate MC. He will be the best representative for Jacob Fatu, and then Jacob Fatu can take care of everything in the ring. And I'm not saying it's going to happen right away, but I do think Fatu is one of those guys that you can look at and go, he's going to be wearing a belt in the future. The only question is who's going to be in his. Somebody's going to be in his corner. Somebody's going to be his megaphone, because he's not really that gifted on the mic yet.
No, absolutely. And because we got like a solid 13 minutes left, Mo. This is a request we actually got during our watch along, Mo. We got asked who our tag team Mount Rushmore is. And I just for fun threw in an extra team, right? So Mo, do you want to start or do you want me to start? Because we're just going to do right now. We're going to have a little fun. Top 5 tag teams of all time.
So I'll let you go, because I think this is an interesting thing. I had my 5, but I was curious. Sometimes you want to rank your 5 against what, say, Sports Illustrated or Bleacher Report or some of the others have. And the pundits, interestingly enough, they have the same tag team number 1 a lot. And I'm a big fan of this tag team, but I'm confused. Is it the greatest tag team in terms of their star power, their aura, or the greatest tag team in terms of their actual success? Because the terms of their actual success, that team should never be number 1. I'll throw it out there. I'm talking about the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors. They've won a lot, but there are other tag teams that have won even more. And I don't know why I rank them in the top 5. I just don't have them number 1.
Yeah, that's fair. I went with more like match quality,
Yes,
kind of memorable moments, tag runs.
Right.
And the thing with the tag teams, right, is we've been so blessed in the last 25 years that sometimes these older teams just kind of get lost, and I think they deserve respect. But I genuinely think that the top 5 greatest tag teams we've seen them all in the last 25 years. So to me, Legion of Doom's like 6. I understand what they did. They trailblazed their way for the future, for the business. But sometimes, Mo, you trailblaze that path, and then somebody takes your path up to the next level. And I think there are
Correct.
5 teams that have done that. So it's no shade to the Road Warriors. I think they're fantastic. And their aura is just unmatched with the big shoulder pads and Paul Ellering.
Right. The whole look, all of it. Yeah.
But I do think that there are 5 tag teams better than them. And let me start off at 5. This is so tough, but I got the Hardy Boys. And I understand that I'm sure my list is going to suck to have you. Oh,
no,
you should.
I've got Hardys at 4, but keep going. I love it. Okay.
No, absolutely. And I just want to throw out to the viewers. I'd love to see your guys' list, and we can debate. The only rule is make sure we keep it respectful. I got the Hardys at 5. At 4, this is where the tough one was for me. I got the Dudley Boys.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
I think the 3 greatest tag teams we have ever seen, Mo, have all come past 2010. And I think the Dudleys had a great run. But I think 3 teams have passed them, and they paved the way. And I think 3 teams, once again, they just took the road that the Dudley Boys paved, and they took it up to another level. And I know this one's going to be controversial, Mo, because these guys are controversial. But at 3, I got the Young Bucks. I think the Young Bucks paved the way. They're the greatest tag team to never step foot in a WWE ring. And you want to know the impact of the Young Bucks? They're the guys that got Bullet Club shirts over here in your Spencer's. They're the guys that helped start a brand new company that is creating stars today as we speak, known as AEW. The Young Bucks were an absolute foundation piece of that. And not to mention, they have a ton of classics. The greatest tag team match I have ever seen to this day is the Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks from AEW All Out 2021. And that's arguably, you can argue that a match like them versus Omega and Hangman at Revolution was better. I think this will be my most controversial take, but I think the Young Bucks have done enough that they're a top 3 tag team of all time. At number 2, this one was tough. But give me the New Day. I got the New Day. They started in 2014, and they've gone on an absolute banger of a run with absolutely great feuds. We all remember, some of their great matches, their tag team gauntlet to get Kofi Kingston into the main event of WrestleMania. They had wars with the Usos and the Bludgeon Brothers. Rowan and Harper, wars with the Wyatt family. Just an absolute dogs in the tag team division, and I think that they have earned the right to be in the number 2 spot. Which leaves number 1, I've already said that I think all of them have, the top 3 have come past 2010s. Which leaves number 1 spot to the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. I think they are the greatest tag team of all time. I understand that they're going to be like, well, all they do is super kicks. No, they are actually very good at in-ring psychology, storytelling. They actually told a good enough story that they main evented a WrestleMania. That's the only second time that has ever happened. I believe the Legion of Doom have also main evented a WrestleMania. So I think that they have been together for 15 years now, because I think they came in about 2010, and they're still not stale. And you could put them in the ring with anybody, and the match is going to be terrific. So
pretty good.
I got the Usos at 1. I completely get it if your guys' list is different, and that's the beauty of list. Everybody has a different preference.
No doubt. And look, I had the Dudleys a little bit higher. I actually had Dudleys at 3. I had the Usos at 2. I had New Day at 1. Hardy Boys at 4, Legion of Boom at 5. And even though it's reaching back a little bit, I thought I'd pay some respect to some of the older teams. I just threw them in the mix. I had the Hart Foundation at 6.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so our lists aren't that different. We just flip flop New Day and the Usos, and I get it. Like you can make an argument if you look at their wrestling styles that Legion of Doom and Dudley's they're more brawlers than wrestlers. But I think the Dudley Boys, you have to factor in memorable moments. You have to factor in how the crowd reacts. The reaction to the Legion of Boom was they were the two biggest dudes you ever seen as a tag team, right? When you first saw them, you're like, these are two dudes well over 300 pounds, just the most intimidating team ever. With the Dudleys, every time they came into the ring, Brett, you didn't know how the match was going to end. You just know there was going to be a high degree of violence. And I love that about them. Like, you can make a case that if we rank them in a different way, the toughest tag team ever, it might be the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, they actually, I would say the Legion of Doom for me would actually probably be 7 because I'd probably put Edge and Christian at 6. And the thing with me,
yeah, that's a good one. Edge and Christian
is like 3 to 6 are fully interchangeable. I do think that the Usos and New Day are the greatest tag teams that we've seen, but I think you can switch around, Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudley Boys. I think they're interchangeable. Depends on your preference. And you can also switch around the Young Bucks. I think their influence just goes far beyond, your just standard wrestling match and what they've done outside of the industry too, with the creation of AEW and everything playing a big part in that. But if you want to switch them to like 6 and say, oh, Edge and Christian, the Hardys, the Dudleys are over, I wouldn't have a problem with that. So to me, 3 through 6 for me are all interchangeable, but I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer.
No, I'm good with that. Look, these are all-time greats, and we're just talking about the top 6 that we came up with. If you did an honorable mention, you would mention teams like the Midnight Express or the Rock and Roll Express. You could go on a long list of honorable mention tag teams. You could go way back to Jack and Jerry Briscoe, Ole and Arn Anderson. There have been a lot of great tag team wrestlers.
The Freebirds and the Von Erichs.
By the way, this goes to show you, I don't let fandom overrule where I perceive you overall. The Freebirds is my favorite tag team of all time, period. And they're really not a tag team. They're like a 3-man team that's interchangeable. They were the New Day before the New Day. They pretty much did whatever they wanted. But yeah, I love the Freebirds. I love the Freebirds. The Von Erichs were incredibly entertaining. Like I said, I want to hear from the chat. The best part about being wrestling fans or even a sports fan or sports entertainment is we're going to all have strong views. We're going to all have our favorites. And if you give me your list and it's completely different from mine or Brett's, I'm good with that because I'm going to respect your opinion because it's subjective. It's subjective. Now I'll push back a little bit. If you go, I've got a list and it doesn't include New Day and Usos, I'll probably push back a little bit. But look, you can have somebody completely different at the top of. You might have the Legion of Doom number 1. I'm going to listen to that argument. I'm going to listen to your opinion. That's the fun part about this. So I'm good with it, chat. If you guys want to drop your list.
And I do want to mention an underrated tag team because I think these guys also help pave the way for a newer style that we see. Paul London and Brian Kendrick. Just completely fast-paced tag team technicians from the mid-2000s, got a lengthy title reign. And their style back then is almost like very similar to what we see today. So I do want to give them a shout-out for just being ahead of their time, as a tag team. But I kind of the same with you. I made sure to not because I love the Hardy Boys to an extent. The show is kind of named after them. That's where I got the idea to name Boys with a Z. The Meaty Boys. The Meaty part is actually named after the New Day, with Biggie actually talking about big meaty men like he loves to do.
Right.
So like the show's named after the Hardy Boys and the New Day, but overall, I'm just gonna put them where I think they deserve. And hey, if you want to make the argument New Day's the greatest tag team of all time, I ain't gonna argue with that either. But Mo, that is all I had for us today. Did you have anything you wanted to add before you get up on out of here?
No, I just appreciate everybody for dropping by, tuning in with us, reviewing the Rumble, listening to us list our top tag teams, listening to us talk about the great matches from the Rumble. We appreciate you guys so much. Just make sure you check out all the great content we have over at Wire to Wire. Check out the Meaty Boys on Tuesdays. Make sure you check out me and Brett and one on Thursday nights. Appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, you can catch us talking. Obviously, I would say some pretty notable trades happened this past weekend.
Wow.
So at this point, nobody's safe. Mo, we better be careful before Gene trades us for like a second round pick or something. No, I think we can go for a first.
We might get moved. They might move us back to the now defunct Sports Empire Network.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, that'd be a lottery pick, that's for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for tuning in, and we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.